everyone, it's Jay here. We're talking nail files today. It's kind of a quandary for some technicians, especially when they're starting out, which one to choose. And I don't know if you're like me, over the years you've bought all different files trying to find the perfect file. So I wanted to do a little review today to talk about what to look for when you're buying a file, and just give you a little review based on what we should know or what we did know, and I hope it helps, and I'll tell you about my favorites as well. Okay, so with files, it comes down to the shape of the file, the grit of the file, and what you want to do with it. So let's first of all talk shape. So we have just our standard shape. This is called a harbour bridge shape. We have boomerang shape. We have this kind of diamond shape, and we have block buffers. They're the main shapes. So it all comes down to personal preference. At the end of the day, different shapes give you different angles to create different effects and file finishes, making your life easier. Most people, train learning on this kind of shape, which is fine. Some people like different angles so that they can get into the cuticle differently, and that all comes down to personal preference. The second thing that you need to think about is the type of paper that goes on the file. So Charisma have beautiful Japanese paper on their files, and as a result they last longer, they do their job, and you get a longer wear out of the file. Some sort of less expensive files like this one use cheaper paper. There's nothing wrong with cheaper paper, but it just doesn't seem to last as well. So that's the difference. They come in different colours. So you have like black. There's nothing wrong with black. Black just basically is more your sort of hard-working file for acrylic, and it. The only thing is that some of the little file grits can come off and end up everywhere. The white files are good for gel because you don't see any little particles. And this is called a zebra file. Zebra is my favourite paper, just quietly. Then we have two other types. We have, this is a Teflon file, and Teflon lasts really well, sanitizes really well. It can be really scrubbed hard and lasts. And then we have a Mylar file, which is the same. It does last also really well, and is fully sanitizable. These are real workhorses. The Mylar files tend to be kind of more expensive, but they will last longer. They're juicy files. And then we have, so they're your sort of workhorse files, and then we have different types of buffers and high shine buffers and block buffers. See, there's just so much to know. There's so much to know. There's so much to choose from. And I went into our showroom and only chose a few. So there's lots and lots of different ones, and there's no right or wrong. But you want to think about grading your grits down to get a better finish, which is very important. And what I mean by that is that if you're file finishing on the top of your nail, you might go in with a 180 grit file and then dust it, and then go in with a fine buffer like this one, which is a 180, 280. So you might use the 180 side, then dust it, then do a 280 side, and then bring it up to a high shine. That's perfect finishing. Just to remind you, with grit, basically what it means is, because people ask me this all the time, is it comes from sandpaper. So it's the amount of little particles they put in a square inch of paper. So let's say 180 grit has 180 pieces of grit in that 1 inch square. And so as a result, it's like this. So this is known as a medium grit file. If you have 100 grits, you have less. There's more gaps in between, and so there's a higher space, and so they're more abrasive, because the more grits, the more tightly packed they are, the closer they are together, the smoother the file is, and so the finer the file is. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense to everybody. So it's important to choose the right grit file for what you're doing. Otherwise, you can undo all the good you just did. So that's an important save. Okay, so I hope that answers your questions on what to do. I like to use different files for different things, and I'm going to talk to you about a few of my different favourite files right now. When I had my salon back in the dark ages of time, I always had individual file packs for clients because hygiene was my paramount concern. It still is. All these years later, I still care about hygiene as my number one. But at the same time, I also want my job to be done really well, and I want to save money. So those kind of things really matter in a nail salon. It's nice to get a brand new nail file, but if it's costing you $2 every time, well then you have to factor that into your pricing. So let me talk to you about what I love. So first of all, these are one of my favorites. So these are our Cuccio individual single-use block buffers. So they basically break off. You use a little itty bitty one, and they're great for preparing the natural nail. I love these. They work out to be like something ridiculous, like 11 cents each or something like that. They come like this, really good value. The client loves the fact that it's only for her. And they're really gentle on the natural nail. Remember, always go from cuticle to free edge. Don't go across the nail. Protect the integrity of the nail at all costs. The next thing that I absolutely love, it took me a while to get used to it. So if you like this, bear with it. So this is the Cuccio stainless steel nail file set. And basically what you get in there is two blanks like this, that you can then stick the file paper on. So here's one I used prior. So you just pull the paper off and put it into the bin. And then you get a new paper, which I forgot to bring one in, and you stick it onto there and you've got a brand new nail file. The refills come like this in a 50 pack, and they're really super economic. And the reason that I love this file is because it's super thin and it's really cost effective. Plus it means that I get a brand new file paper every single time I do nails. So it's awesome. They come in like 100 grit, 150 grit, and 180 grit and 240 grit. The thing, it does take a little bit of getting used to because it doesn't have a huge amount of flex in it, but because it's super fine, it just makes you realize that you have to just file with purpose again. And I think as nail technicians, as we get busy and too busy chatting, we forget to file with purpose. So make sure you remember that. The other one that I really love is the Charisma thin nail file. This is also good. This is my favorite natural nail file. This is my go-to nail file for natural nails. I love the Charisma files. The Cuccio files are awesome because they're individually wrapped, as you may have noticed, so they're good for hygiene. You can unwrap them in front of the client. You can sanitize them though, so you can give one to your client, client pack, and then re-sanitize throughout the day. This is my slippery little sucker favorite buffer. Oh my god, I love this buffer. So it's a 280, 180 grit, and it's super fine. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, I just love it. Plus it's pink on the inside, so you gotta love that. And it's really good for taking all those file demarcations at the end. And this is my favorite high shine buffer. This is pretty typical. This is called a girlfriend, and we use the black side, then the white side, and then the grey side, and we'll bring it up to a high shine, but you do need a little bit of muscles with this one. The Charisma one is infused with high shine agents, so take care with it. You don't want to get in oils or anything involved with this thing, or you'll wreck it. But basically, you just have to use a feather-light touch, let it sing, and it just brings them up to such a beautiful high shine. For me, when I'm doing artificial enhancements and I'm not using gel, as my finished top coat, I like to file finish with a high shine every time, because it just shows the difference between a good service and an awesome service. So that's what I like to do. So I hope that makes sense for you. Bear in mind that when you buy from your distributor like EFB Salon Supplies and Absolute Spa, that you can buy a single file, a bulk, a buy price, like buy 10, or even a bulk price. So do ask for bulk pricing, and really consider what matters to you in a file when you're choosing it, and don't scrimp on a file, because sometimes scrimping costs you time. Just think about when you were a student, you had no money, you used to use that same file over and over, and it used to take you forever. That's why. So think about time is money. Hygiene's paramount. So do check this out. I love it. Love, love, love it. It's really cost effective. I think it works out to be 35 cents a file when they're loaded. Like, how good's that? Oh my God. And it's brand new, so ace. All right, well, hope you enjoyed troubleshooting this week. It's not as long this week. Next week we're talking brows, everything brows. So watch out for that. And I will talk to you soon. Have an amazing week. Lots of love. Mwah.